Hello, and welcome back to the Give N Go. I'm your co-host Reynoso, here with my boy
Soltero. What's up, guys?
I want to start off this episode by giving off a major shout out to Laura Lewis, the genius behind the masterpiece. The Give N Go officially has a mural, and Laura Lewis went absolutely off with this project, drawing Griezmann, drawing Pulisic, drawing Santi Jimenez and Mo Salah to absolute detail. It is a stunning piece of work. I cannot stop looking at it, and I cannot stop recommending Laura Lewis's work enough because she did an absolutely amazing job. And look at that, bro. We have ourselves a masterpiece in the studio now.
Hell yeah, man. She did an incredible job. That Griezmann one, bro, we're going to have to cut that one out once we retire this mural, bro. I'm going to have to take that one because it just looks fucking beautiful, man. And then we got Pulisic looking stoic, looking like Captain America right there. Santi Jimenez looking like a golden boy, man. Yeah. Absolute golden boy. And Mo Salah, low-key, looking a little hungry, maybe. I don't know.
Why was your selection Griezmann? Why did you select Griezmann to be up on the wall?
Favorite player of all time.
Okay.
Of all time, man.
Really? All time?
All time. We can get into that maybe at a different day. But yeah, Griezmann's my favorite player. And there's no question about it. Christian Pulisic, well, he's my favorite U.S. men's national team player ever as well. So right there, we have two people that really resemble the type of football that I like to watch and play.
Fair. Mo Salah, my favorite player. I wouldn't say all time, but of the past 5-6 years, ever since his inclusion to the Liverpool squad, where he just absolutely went off that first season. I cannot stop watching him, and I look like him. I had to get him up there. And then Santi Jimenez, I just like what he represents right now for Mexico. One of the few bright lights in a team that is riddled with darkness, and I figured that deserves something. Yeah. And so I loved his pose in that picture. I love the celebration. I love what he did in that Gold Cup final against Panama, scoring a banger of a goal. Let's get him up in the first inaugural Give N Go mural that we have ever created. But once again, shout out Laura Lewis, who did an absolutely incredible job. I think the thing that I want to start off the episode with is a reaction from you. Yeah. Because we had a Give N Go first. For the first time, we had something happen to the show that has not happened in the past. Bro, we made the news, brother. We made the goddamn news. Sports Keita wrote an article displaying your opinion on Mikel Arteta and his usage of Kai Havertz, and more specifically, what's been going on with Kai Havertz and his issues with the team and his issues with the offense, as well as just making himself comfortable in this Arsenal squad. Titling the article with, "I don't think he knows how to shoot anymore. Arsenal star has yet to accept position he's good at," claims popular podcaster. That's what you are now, bro.
Sure.
Popular podcaster.
I'll take it.
Podcaster Soltero has said that Mikel Arteta has found Kai Havertz's best position, but the Arsenal star is unable to accept it. Soltero reckons the German is a better central midfielder than the forward.
Absolutely. And if you haven't listened to the take, maybe put that link down in the description. I don't know what we'll end up doing, but go back and listen to it because, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I do think it's actually a really good take. Every single take that I have on this podcast are my genuine 100% thoughts. I don't get swayed by anybody. I don't try to clickbait. My take on Kai Havertz being a better midfielder rather than a part of a front three is genuine, and I think it's actually true. What really gets me about this specific take, though, is the reaction or the overall reaction. It's either people completely agree with me or they completely disagree. There's no I could kind of see it. And my only problem with the people that disagree is, by disagreeing with me, you're also disagreeing with one of the better managers in the Premier League, in Mikel Arteta. I think it honestly boggles my mind that people think Arteta's making a mistake by consistently starting Kai Havertz. Dude, they train every single day. You don't think that Arteta would give Fabio Vieira a chance over Kai Havertz if he thought that Vieira was genuinely a better option? Of course he would. But what he sees out on the pitch and what he sees in trading and what he wants to output on the pitch, his decision right now is to go with Kai Havertz. I think that means a lot, honestly. And yes, it is weird that, Kai Havertz is playing a central midfielder role, but I think it's reality right now. But I also think it's the right decision. I just think Arteta needs to take it a step further and keep Havertz away from that 18-yard box. Make him a true midfielder and just have him facilitate, have him distribute. That's my whole take. So yes, I agree with Arteta, but I think he needs to take it just one step further and have Havertz completely evolve his play style.
What I liked a lot about the article was that the moment I got it sent by one of our viewers and through Instagram, appreciated whoever sent that to us, sent me the link. The moment I clicked on it, I couldn't believe the title, I couldn't believe the photo, the thumbnail. But then I started reading it in fear, bro. Because so many times I've seen articles just take sentences out of context, really misrepresent what someone meant to say throughout either a take or an interview. And I was scared, bro, just reading every single word, being like, please represent our take, represent what Soltero said to an accurate degree. And surprisingly, I thought the writer did, man. Really made a good point of just expressing your opinion and why you see Kai Havertz the way you do, and just kind of analyzing what's going on with Arsenal and Arteta behind the scenes and adding on to it. I thought overall the article was really great. Credit to whoever wrote it.
For real.
And overall, it's a great debut article to have of the Give and Go, man.
Absolutely, man. I hope that, you know, specifically British people somehow hear this take, because for the most part, I don't really see people agreeing with either the take that I have or even Arteta playing Havertz. And I would love to see like a true British person's or a true Premier League fan's take or perspective on my opinion too. It'd be so cool to see. And obviously when it comes to football, man, I'm so open to discussion, bro.
Yeah, man. Takes are like babies sometimes. And this is a son. This is a kid that I would love to take him overseas to Europe.
I'd love to.
And I would love to for him to explore the streets of England, just to see how other people interact with him. Maybe he's not liked. Maybe he's bullied. But that's how takes are, bro. Sometimes they're bad and sometimes they're good, and other times they're just misunderstood. But luckily, this article completely got it. What are your top international storylines that you are most excited for, that you're most looking forward to in anticipation to 2026? Is it Messi and the whole Argentina narrative once again? Is it Brazil pursuing their first World Cup trophy in over 24 years? Is it a European nation getting back on top like France, or maybe even England perhaps doing something special? What team right now, or what stories are you most excited for going into the World Cup?
So for me, this is going to be a little bit of a curveball if I had to pick one right now. So in no particular order, I'd say one team that I'm really excited to see continue to grow and continue to perform and hopefully build up to something very special in 2026.
Shit, man, I got a team like that, though.
Yeah?
I'm scared.
I have a couple teams, though. So this is just one of them.
Okay, I'm scared. Okay.
This is just one of them.
Okay.
And it's Japan.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good,
it's Japan.
Good, yeah.
Just beating Germany 4-1. Incredible display. And then they played like a B team and they beat Turkey 4-2. Mm-hmm. Absolutely incredible. The thing is, for the last, I'd say 8-7 years, Japan has flirted with actually breaking into the upper echelon of like the best 8 teams at a World Cup. They have flirted with it, bro.
Oh yeah, that Belgium result.
That Belgium result, and then in 2022 having an incredible group stage, and then playing well. I thought they were absolutely fantastic. Mm-hmm. And in that build up to 2022, one thing that we highlighted in our deep dives was Japan's no longer a team of like one star and then a good supporting cast. Every single position has something a little bit different, a true flair to every single player that plays for Japan right now. And I think they're building up to something very special in 2026 because I think at Japan's peak, they could probably play the best team-style football at the international level. And I think that can go very, very far. In a sport, which is the international game, that is, very reliant on stars for every single team. I think Japan goes completely against that curve and just displays the absolute incredible talent that they have in pretty much every single position. And the way that they're playing right now, the way that they've been playing, I just only see them getting better. I think a big milestone for them will be winning the Asian Cup that's happening in January. I think they have to win that.
They have to.
Prove to themselves that they are the best on the continent right now. Do it in style, play the way that they're playing, and then from there, They qualify for 2026, top of the group, or however they end up doing it. And do they go into the best form of their lives as a nation into the USA for 2026? I'm incredibly excited to see how this Japanese team can grow, because it's not dependent on one guy. It's dependent on a conglomerate of this entire 11. And that's really exciting for me to see.
Yeah, I see the potential that Japan has. I completely recognize everything you're saying. I think the step I want them to take is to, I wish there was a way to do it, but to have confidence against truly elite sides is something that I want them to gain. I feel like that's the biggest hurdle they have to jump. Yeah. Right? They were able to beat a Germany team, but Germany, as we've seen, has been in shambles recently. They got their fucking number now. It's beautiful to see. But I think a lot about Morocco, who was a very good organized team. They had their stars, but it wasn't about them. It was about how they played fluidly as an entire system. I see Japan as a very similar type of approach, but ultimately Morocco flamed out against a top side in France. For Japan to do what Morocco couldn't, I want them to be able to, go toe-to-toe against like a French side in this example, and be able to, beat them and defeat them playing truly team football. I don't know if there's a way to prepare yourself for that. I think that's just something we'll find out the day that game arrives at the tournament. Yeah. But up until then, that's the only concern I would ask of them, because that is what I see as their true potential. That is what I see as them ultimately achieving, is truly something special for an Asian side to go that deep into the tournament and take it to one of the best teams in the world, man.
Yes, and that reason is why I have Japan as one of my most exciting storylines, because I think finally Japan has the potential to actually break that, to actually do it. Because like I said, they've been flirting with it. They get there, and yes, they stumble.
Yeah.
But I think now they get there in 2026, and I think we might see a different result. But it's going to take a lot. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if there is an Asian team to do it, I have never felt more confident about this specific Japanese team.
I think, okay, I figured out what I'm trying to express. CONCACAF and CONMEBOL teams will have Copa America to measure themselves. Mm-hmm. European teams will have the Euros. Japan has Asia.
I know. I wish they got invited to like the Copa America or something.
I wish they could get into the Euros. I think would be an incredible thing.
You know what would be interesting is the Gold Cup in 2025, it might be expanded. Yeah. Maybe they invite. Because Japan got invited to the Copa America in 2011. But unfortunately, they couldn't play because there was a tsunami in Japan or whatever. Yeah. Really unfortunate. But maybe they get invited.
That would
something like a Gold Cup or something. Yeah. That could be interesting. God, it still wouldn't be like Europe, but I don't know if South American teams would get invited to the Gold Cup. I don't know, but I wish there could be something like that.
The World Cup title hopes rely on an invitation. Is what
yeah. I get it. Yeah.
I'm just saying that's the only thing I wish they could have. That I know that CONCACAF teams, CONMEBOL teams, and European teams have. The top teams will be able to do it.
Yeah.
I wish Japan could get it, but regardless, I do see them as a very special side as well.
Yeah.
One team that I'll bring up in my anticipation to the World Cup that I'm really, really excited about is also a team that kind of represents that teamwork effort that also isn't labeled as a elite squad, that's considered by many an underdog team, and that so far has thrived in the European context. I'm talking about Austria, bro.
Yeah?
Austria has me perked up, man.
Okay.
I'm really excited about this Austrian team with so much cohesiveness, so much consistency. I don't think they've lost a single game in the European qualification stage so far. This is a group they're in with Belgium, and they have players all around that I'm a big fan of, man. I think their success can truly be accredited to the fact that Austria has implemented so many of their players within the Bundesliga system itself. I mean, you look at the guys that have gone through RB Leipzig. It's incredible. Right now, they have 3 players that play for them in Schlager, Baumgartner, and then Nicolas Seewald. But then you have players that used to play for Leipzig, and Marcel Sabitzer or Konrad Laimer. All these guys, midfielders, that all know, that Leipzig football, and they just apply it into the international stage. And it shows, man, because they're getting these results. They're playing really good, formidable football. And it's a team that slowly, you can see position by position, they're figuring themselves out. And you look at where these guys are playing, you look at the quality and the talent that they have. It's not a team that's just gotten, lucky off of like having a really good fluidity amongst each other. It's a team that actually does have really good players at every single position. And because of that, I think they're going to be able to compete with some of Europe's best teams. That's why, for me, they're the most exciting team to watch in Europe going into the Euros.
Yeah.
I want to know how they do, bro. Because that's where I'll get my answer on if it's worth pursuing them going into the World Cup or if I should just leave it right there, man.
Now, I remember watching Austria in the 2020 Euros. And in the games that they played, I remember they would have like 30-minute spells in each game where they would actually play really good football. But then it would break down at some point. And I was like, okay, this team definitely has potential. But at the time, I was like, they just don't have enough.
They're too early. They were too early back then,
I think they were too early.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me right now is almost like, it's the evolution, apparently, of what's going on in Austria, because it seems that they've taken that really good football that they could play in spurts, and they've just expanded it to an entire 90 minutes.
Yes.
I guess just with, more experience and just better footballers. So, if this is true, bro, I think Austria definitely could be very exciting.
I think it's part of my research right now. I'm studying. I'm looking at the samples. I'm looking to see what we've acquired because I need to figure out if it's true, if it's real, if it's authentic. But I do think there's science here because so much of the World Cup comes down to just timing, man. I think Morocco is yet again another example of that.
Yes.
Just showing that when the moment arrives, if the team is at that perfect level and state, they can do special things. And so far, from a timing perspective, I think Austria fits that match for a team that could potentially go on a dark horse-like run.
And sticking in Europe, I'm going to go big. I'm going to go big here with one of the storylines that I'm really excited to see about for 2026. England.
Oh, man. How could you not be excited?
I see them as true title contenders for the Euros and for the World Cup in the United States. The British are coming. Watch out, bro. Dude, Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice as your starting midfield, and
Cheat code.
And that's gonna happen in 3 years. When there's even better.
Yeah.
And then Phil Foden right now. My God, Jack Grealish on the other side if he's healthy. And then at that point, all these players will be absolutely in their prime. Yeah. And then you'll have a veteran, experienced player in Harry Kane to top it all off.
Throw in Marcus Rashford, if you will.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I don't really have much else to say other than the quality of England is one of the highest in all of international football. And you can make fun of them as much as you want because they're British, they're English, whatever you want to do. They are one of the best teams right now, and I think they'll prove it at the Euros. For them, once we get there, we'll do our deep dives, but already England have to make it to the semifinals, no less, and I expect them to, really go for the title in Europe. And that'd be an incredible milestone for them to actually achieve something like that. And it'd be the perfect precursor to then take that form and then just go off at the 2026 World Cup. I think this specific generation of English players are onto something different, man. They're on a whole different vibe, a whole different energy than I've ever seen an English team possess before. And honestly, I recognized it in the build-up to the 2020 Euros. I immediately knew, I was like, they're different, bro. Obviously making it to the final. And then, falling a little bit short at the 2022 World Cup. But you really, really think about it, man. That team was young, or at least in the important positions on the pitch. That team was very, very young. I see this team just getting better and better and better. And the fact that as a younger, inexperienced team, they were making finals, semifinals, man, I think they'll be able to actually finish it off and win some sort of title.
Dude, Bukayo Saka, another name that we got to mention, bro.
Lord.
Another goddamn name.
Come on, man. You could even use Sterling as a bench player if you want to. Man. There's so many options, man.
I see a lot of similarities between the USA and England, man. Which is funny because they've been compared there's a lot of history there. There's been wars, there's been jokes, there's been beef. There's been so much between these two teams. But in a footballing sense, they represent a lot of the same thing, which is a stigma, a stereotype attached to who they are in the footballing world. The USA has been made fun of for decades and what they've tried to do within football. England has been made fun of for their inability to really shine on the biggest stage despite the royal history they have at the league level. But they're both trying to break those stigmas. They're both trying to break those stereotypes, and they're both doing it right now in the build-up to the tournament by having really fun, youthful teams that wear white-based jerseys and find themselves both having the same challenge at the end of the day, which for me isn't about the talent, isn't about the quality. It's their coaching. I've said it before when we talked about Berhalter. I think it's going to come down to him to define how far that USA team can go. If he is the guy, then he can take them as far as they can possibly go. But the same goes for Southgate, a man that has garnered so much controversy with his utilization of his players, the arsenal that he has at hand, and how to many he's mismanaged the true potential of what they've been able to do. I wonder if he ultimately will hold back this England squad from winning the trophies that we desire them to win, man.
Yeah, that's the $1 million question, man. It gets tricky because of my first point, in the sense that England's talent pool is so stacked that can that be enough? And my initial answer is yes, simply because of the style that these guys all play. I think can definitely be enough to beat 95% of teams, right? So now the question becomes, can Southgate do the remaining 5%? I don't want to pull any sort of trigger, I would say, until after the Euros. If they win it, Southgate's the guy. If they don't, I actually would immediately consider getting a new manager. I would actually be very okay with Southgate remaining on as manager until after the Euros completely. And I know he gets a lot of criticism.
If they win it?
No, I'm saying right now, because people are asking for his job constantly, bro. I'm completely okay with Southgate staying on until the Euros.
Oh, until okay.
Yeah, up to the Euros, and then after they make it, they should make the decision. I don't think they should make any sort of decision now.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's for sure. I'm asking more within the sense of the World Cup and if he's the guy to guide them, but I understand what you're saying. I don't want another article written yet, right, about what we said about Southgate. I want to get the information after the Euros. Let's see what happens.
Exactly.
Let's give him that shot. At the end of the day, he led them to the goddamn final, and they could have won it if penalties had gone their way. So I do think people kind of overhype, or just like the Harry Maguire situation.
Right.
People run away with the stigma they have about a certain person. I think Southgate deserves one more Euros. Let's give it to him. But then after that, let's gauge and see what happens. But dude, England could be that team. The only last concern I have is that when they played against France in that quarterfinal matchup in the World Cup, I did feel that it was clear that they were outclassed, that they were the lesser team. Yeah. And I understand they were young at that time. They were still inexperienced, but I'm afraid that the same might happen again. They face off against a top 1 or 2 team in the world. They get Argentina in quarters. They get Brazil perhaps in the semis, whoever it might be. And that class difference is showed. What do you think they would have to do to kind of eliminate that? Because I think rather than playing toe-to-toe with France, they did play a slight level under that ended up seeing them lose a game.
Yeah, no, I have no qualms about that France performance. France were better. France definitely were better, and they deserve to go through. But that is my point, is that all of the players that are playing at a very high level right now are pretty young. And that exact reason is why I have England being so much more confident in 2026. It's why I'm okay with USA's performance in 2022 as well. It will largely be the same team that started in 2022 for 2026, but they'll be so much better. And that's how I see England. If England's end was a quarterfinal exit against one of the best teams in the world and they were inexperienced, then imagine the same team but so much more developed in every single position, bro.
Damn, that gets me excited.
That's a finals appearance team, bro.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not worried about it. Now, obviously, we need to see that evidence, and I think we'll see it in the Euros.
And to finalize my USA-England analogy, England winning it in the USA.
Yeah, that'd be nuts, man. It'd be crazy.
That'd be crazy.
It'd be nuts. But it would also just make so much sense. Like the culture England's on right now, like with music, art, football, it would just make sense to do it in the United States, bro. It would just make so much sense.
Yeah, dude. Oh, man, an England, I don't know, say France final, England-Brazil final. The South American team would be crazy. In the final, bro.
That'd be dope, dude.
Or an England-USA final to just finish it the fuck off.
Absolutely, man. It'd be nuts. It'd be fucking crazy, bro.
All right, now to add one more storyline that I'm really excited about, it's about the expansion. 48 teams being at the World Cup. I'm so interested to see what teams end up getting in between Team 32 and Team 48 that in the past we would have known did not deserve to make it, but now just sneak their way into the tournament, into a goddamn World Cup appearance. I want to follow those storylines. I want to see what team out of that pack ends up, making the most out of the opportunity they've been given at an expanded World Cup. I mean, I'm just so curious to see the level of competition, the teams. Do we see some, feisty African teams sneak their way in?
Yeah.
An Asian side, perhaps. South America, what squads do we see kind of fall into that range? Overall, how does that approach to the World Cup impact the actual entertainment level of the World Cup and just the format changes we're seeing with, I think, now groups of 3 instead of 4 because of those teams that are being included? All in all, I'm just so interested to see the overall change that is coming with the expanded teams.
Yeah, dude, 100%. I'm so curious to see how each confederation outside of CONMEBOL is going to do the qualification, man. Like, how are they going to do it? Are they going to change it up? Or are they just going to say, all right, if you finish below what it usually is, now you're in?
Yeah.
Like, is it going to be that simple now? Honestly, I have no idea. But the thing is, I only think it promotes chaos in a very good way. Like, I think it's just going to add to the entertainment value. I remember, I think the easiest way to say why it's a good thing, the expansion, is look at a team like Hungary. Hungary were on fire going into 2022, and 100%, they would have done so much better than, for example, Denmark.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So imagine a team like Hungary also in the World Cup, even though they technically didn't qualify for one. I think it only adds to it. Like you said, there are some good African teams. Algeria, for example, didn't make it in 2022, and that's just because it's really harsh in Africa.
Cameroon game.
Crazy Cameroon game, bro. And so, we're definitely missing some teams that, unfortunately don't make it, but could have a really good impact in the tournament.
Scotland,
maybe.
I can see them getting in through that method.
It's obvious, but I still want to say it. The other storyline that I'm incredibly excited about is the United States. And I don't even know if I have much else to say about it.
Yeah.
Because I've been saying it, and I will continue every single time the United States play. I'm up. This is the most exciting, the most talented United States team there has ever been. And, dude, it's not even close, man. And it's crazy because I wish we had this podcast for like 10 years so people could truly see that I'm not biased. Because from 2010 to 2018, I hated the U.S.
Yeah.
I hated them, bro.
That team sucked.
God, and honestly, they got good results at World Cups. Like 2010, they got good results. 2014 was crazy. I was going for Portugal in that USA game, bro.
Jermaine Jones, baby.
I was going for Ghana. I was going for Germany, man. I did not like the U.S. at all in 2014. And when they didn't make it in 2018, I actually wasn't that bothered. Because the USA played boring football, in my opinion. Now, of course, they had some good talent. Deuce Dempsey, God bless him. Amazing forward. But, dude, this team has completely changed my mind. But it's because I try to truly be as unbiased as I can. I only look at football. I only look at the style of play. And this USA team, bro, they are playing at a level that I've never seen before, at least in CONCACAF. So I get really giddy every time the USA hit the field. They are passing like at a truly high European level. And dude, we got players in AC Milan. We got players at Monaco. We got players littered all throughout Europe, Juventus. And what's even crazier, every new player that gets instilled into this team also playing at some European level. And that's what's crazy is that over time, I think the U.S. is actually just going to get better and better and better. They're on an insane trajectory. If they do well in the 2026 World Cup, we could see the MLS explode. Like, truly, to where from 2026 to 2036, the MLS becomes like top 10 league in the world.
Yeah.
Truly. Like, it cracks that. And it's all on this USA team. But what's crazy, I've never had more faith in a team, bro. This team is so talented, so stacked. With at least in relation to what they've been in the past, I think they can do something very, very special at this World Cup. And, dude, I am counting down the hours to the Copa America, bro. That's how excited I am for this USA team because I really do think they can do something special. And I think it starts at the Copa America, right? Yeah. If Japan's milestone is their AFC Asian Cup, if England's is the Euros, the USA, I have the same expectations for them to make a very, And I mean very deep run in this Copa America. And from there, that'll dictate my entire outlook on what I expect for 2026.
I like that.
But I'm very, very excited for the 2024 Copa America because I truly, truly do think that the USA will compete at a very, very high level.
Oh, man, the answers we will get just all across world football next summer.
Oh, my God. Yeah, we're going to a lot, bro.
We're going to know so much more insight that we can then work with leading up to the World Cup. But
yes.
That's why I love these tournaments, man. I love the date and time that they fall in because to get an answer on USA and to kind of put them on a pretty notable pedestal, such as the Copa America, for people to really realize it. It's not a tournament that's just North American related. You're going to have South Americans watching USA games that they haven't been watching for the past few years.
Dude.
Truly surprised by how well they play if they show up. That's what scares me, man. They've done it in CONCACAF. They proved it. They've proven it in CONCACAF. No more questions there. When the stage gets a little bit bigger, will they show up? That's my only thing. I'm an anxious guy, and that's the only thing that gives me anxiety, bro.
I understand.
Outside of that, if they do, bro, I want a USA Argentina final. I want a USA Brazil final.
Yes.
I want USA at the very minimum in the semifinals because they're capable of making it, dude.
Yeah.
It would be amazing to see that play out. And then from then on, I mean, people are going to start talking. People are going to start noticing, okay, the USA, they're not who they used to be anymore. They're actually pretty fun. They have good players. They got a good system in place. And all that's going to build up to the anticipation that people living here in the USA are going to have in the build-up to the tournament. So the Copa America is so important, bro, because if they flame out, people are not going to have that same anticipation despite them hosting the tournament. And that's my fear, man, because it's here in the States. Mexico ain't going to show up. Canada ain't looking too good either. We need one team to really show out for North America and CONCACAF. And if it's USA, then let's have at it, bro. I hope they show up, and I want them to see them fulfill what they've been tinkering at for the past few years. I've seen discussions online about what fan base is the most toxic, what fan base is the craziest, the most disrespectful, right? And that's where you get all these mixed answers. But you never see a light shed on the fan bases that are the most respectable, the ones that are cordial, the ones that deserve to, have a glass raised to them, bro, in tribute to how well they approach the game and how well they treat their fans as well as opposing team fans. So I pose this question to you. What team would you say has the most respectable fans in world football? If there even is a team, bro.
I'm going to take, honestly, a sort of way out here because my take on that is if you play at a high level and you're very competitive, I don't think you can have respectable fans. Like respectable as in, welcome to the stadium. I'm glad you're here. Can't wait for the match. Okay. Shake your hand after the end of the game. That type shit. I don't think it can happen because you're trying to be the best. You're trying to beat them. And I'm talking all throughout South America. I feel like that just can't happen because there's a lot of pride in the game. There's a lot of culture to every single club. And, there's that tribalism that is so inherent to the game of football that, when you have a foreigner come in, yeah, sure, you'll welcome him in, but it's so you can beat their asses.
Yes, sir.
So like it's like it gets a little weird here because I don't even know if I can say there's a respectable club that is like kind in that way. Now, obviously, most clubs, majority of them, act in professional manner. Sure,
right, but that's different.
That's different. So my only answer to that is any club in Qatar or the UAE.
Wait.
Yeah, bro. Go watch some Qatari or go watch some Qatari or Emirati football, man. And it's the most relaxed, softest atmospheres you will ever see at a professional level. I guarantee it.
I thought you were gonna say something like Grimsby or some League One, League Two English football.
Yeah.
But damn, Qatar's got it like that, Dan.
Dude, it's so calm over there, man.
Okay.
It's so calm. Like
it's almost
they don't mind losing.
It's like business over there, bro.
Yeah.
It's like they're going to a business meeting and there's a presentation. Today's presentation is football. That's it.
But that's my point. Is that since it's not like a high elite level where winning is everything, I think it lends itself to just being very relaxed, And so that's why I think that they are respectable over there because, there's just not a real big culture of winning at football over there. Not to say that there's not good football. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't think the culture of winning is very important.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I have an answer. There is a team. There is. But I have to cheat in order to give you that answer because it's not a club. It's an international team. An international team that's known for being very respectable. An international team that time and time again, and this will give it away, is known for cleaning trash after their games. Very cordial, very respectful.
Okay.
And we talked about him already, bro. Japan.
Yeah.
Japan actually has a very, like, I never see them get rowdy. I never see them get into fights with other fans in the stands. They have their chants. They have their anthems. But rarely are they ever a problem in any stadium that they go into. And afterwards, the fact that they are willing to clean up after opposing team fans, to me, says a lot about the respect that they are able to give and the energy that they're able to put out that overall is very positive and very good for the game. I think that's the answer, bro. It's Japan.
Dude, yeah. Okay, that's a great answer, man. You're so right. I don't know if I've ever really seen Japan get involved in any scuffle. I mean, there'll be like physical like spats maybe like between players, but it's like quickly dissolved. Like as far as like a bench getting on the pitch or even the players on the pitch like actually getting involved in some sort of scuffle, I don't think I've ever seen it at the Japanese international level. So yeah, they've got to be up there for it.
I think it might be them. We've been gaining followers lately. We're almost at 50,000 subscribers here on YouTube. And, you know, we've discussed questions about like all-time favorite players in the past in the early days, but I kind of wanted to rehash these conversations because some people might be new to the channel. And I know that a lot of people are just curious to know like an updated answer on what you think about certain players in terms of their all-time position in your own mind. So my question to you today will be, who are your 3 favorite midfielders of all time? The way that we read the game, I think, is very unique between you and I. You can be very analytical. I can be very passionate and emotional. But I think people are interested to know just kind of who do you see as, you know, maybe a tactical genius in that midfield or just a player that was so fun to watch. Which player stood out to you the most and possibly the most important position on the field, which is that of a midfielder?
Yeah, in no particular order, Luka Modric.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, one of the most elegant midfielders, I think, of all time. His control on the ball is absolutely immaculate. Rarely makes a bad decision. Can find pretty much any pass within that midfield sector. And, dude, he's God tier midfielder. He's so efficient, and he's just magical on the ball.
I'm going to copy you here. He's on my top 3 list as well.
Oh, nice.
I have it written down right here. Luka Modric is the first name that came up to me. Then let's have some fun with this then. Who's been a better player for Real Madrid? Modric or Zidane?
You could probably argue Modric just because of his durability and his tenure with Madrid.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Modric was involved in every single Champions League trophy, and he's still there.
Yes.
He's still there. That value alone, I think, kind of says everything. The fact that, you know, Benzema, Cristiano have all left, and countless other players have come and gone through Real Madrid. But they're like, you know what? We want Modric to be our veteran because they trust him. And, he still plays. And what Modric has done for Croatia, a relatively small country in comparison to France, what Modric has done for Croatia over the last 6-7 years, bro, it's been ridiculous. Ridiculous. 2 insane World Cup performances in 2018 and 2022. Yeah. And then, he's been involved at the Euros. I just think you could argue Modric. I think Zidane has maybe reached like bigger heights possibly, but I also think that's maybe down to Zidane's play style.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you can make a really good argument for either, honestly.
I think both, yeah. Zidane is on my list as my second favorite midfielder of all time. I think, obviously, there is a true argument for either one of these guys. I agree with you. I think it's Modric slightly, but Zidane, when you think about what he did for Real Madrid and the level of elegance that he's had in his game, and, playing for Real Madrid during a time that really raised them into prominence. Not to say that Real Madrid was never not Real Madrid. They established that in the fucking 50s and 60s when they're winning countless trophies. But, in the modern era of football, both Barcelona and Real Madrid 2000 to 2010 needed to reach heights to be able to prove themselves that they are still those big clubs in Spain. And Zidane was part of that movement, the Galácticos, right?
Yeah.
Signing on for them from Juventus and then going on to have a masterful career and winning major trophies in the process and doing things that, now it might be easy to look back on and be like, oh, he's pretty good. But at the time, what he was doing in that midfield, the calmness that he played with, the genius he showed on the ball, it was never seen before, honestly, bro, especially in the middle of the goddamn field. You translate that over to the French team and how he was able to take them to a World Cup final in 2006 and then actually winning it in 1998. I mean, he also has that international level of excellence. Yeah. So I think either one is the right answer here. I just think I lean over to Modric because, 4 or 5 Champions Leagues, man?
Yeah.
And then the heights that he reached with Croatia, a country that is not of the same stature as France when it comes to international football, and doing what he's done time and time again, it's incredible. And so I'm going to go Modric there. But to finalize the conversation, who are your 2 other midfielders that you absolutely adore?
Yeah, I say my second one, Kevin De Bruyne.
Damn it, dude. He's my third.
Yeah. There we go. We got 2 out of 3, essentially.
Damn, dude. Yeah.
Kevin De Bruyne, dude, at his best, one of the most precise offensive passers the game has ever seen. And that's what I love about De Bruyne is that he doesn't pass to get around you or to, just facilitate or move the ball. He passes to kill you. And that's nuts. He's like a sniper on the ball.
Like the John Wick of football.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. And it's so beautiful to see because, again, I think attacking midfielders, especially nowadays, is becoming more and more of a, let's say, dead position, right? It's a little bit unheard of to see a guy who only passes to facilitate an offense. Yeah. But De Bruyne is that. Whether it's assisting the assister or truly just getting the assist, Kevin De Bruyne is one of the finest at it. And my God, dude, I've seen him execute some of the craziest offensive passes. But that's the thing is that his, again, there are so many good midfielders who are really good at breaking lines, but De Bruyne does it to kill you. And it's
demoralizing.
It's demoralizing, and it's the most difficult thing to do is to have a penetrative through ball in today's game. And De Bruyne in his prime was one of the best at it.
Incredible analysis. Completely agree. The only person I can compare him to in terms of the danger that their passes possess is him and Messi. And oftentimes, they're the only 2 I've seen that are capable of time and time again pulling off passes that I just don't see. On the TV, I'm watching the screen. I'll never forget the pass he got off against Newcastle last year where he sent the ball through Joe Willock's legs and got an amazing assist, I believe, to Erling Haaland. Passes like that where I'm like, bro, like I've never seen it. Only other person that's comparable is Messi and the things I've seen him do. But it's those passes that you just like, the fact you're watching it from a different vantage point and you can't predict what he's going to do is an insane ability to have on the ball. And he does it over and over again to such a tight and excellent level. He is the engine behind the success of Manchester City these past 6-7 years. He is one of the greatest, if not to many, the greatest midfielder that the Premier League has ever seen. What he has done in an individual level is absolutely incredible. I'm with you, man. He is my 3rd all-time favorite midfielder, which leaves me wondering, who's your final selection, bro?
Yeah, final selection here. You picked an old head with Zidane. I'm going to pick a slightly newer old head, but still an old head, I guess you could maybe say.
Okay.
Kaká.
Really?
Yeah, big
fan. I never knew you to be a Kaká guy.
Big Kaká fan. Brazilian flair, maxed
you don't
out.
mean Koke, bro?
Not getting the pronunciation wrong.
Bro, you sure? Atleti's midfielder for over a decade, bro. You don't mean Koke?
100% sure, bro.
Shit.
Kaká, Brazilian flair, completely maxed out as from a midfield perspective. You think about like a true 10, Kaká is exactly that. Just finding themselves in these tight pockets, but having the skill and honestly the filth to pull off some just really good offensive performances, but from an attacking midfield position. That's what I really liked about Kaká is that, dude, the way he carried himself on the pitch was pretty much every time he touched the ball, even if it was just to receive it, to pass it, is a little bit of a fuck you every single time, bro. And I just love that because his style was so distinctive. When he was playing, there was not a single player on the planet that touched the ball the way that Kaká did. And I loved watching him play. It was very important to my development as a football watcher early on in my career because I got to see Kaká play from like 2009 to 2012, just at the end of like his prime, essentially. But I got to see a little bit of it, and I was like, oh, wow, Kaká is of a different breed. Yeah. And absolutely brilliant to see him when he was definitely on it. Had deceptive pace, but again, dude, his skill was just honestly otherworldly, especially at the time. And winning a Ballon d'Or like Kaká's in my opinion, just for me, one of the better midfielders out there. And, personally, I just loved watching him play.
He has an incredible highlight, one against Manchester United at Old Trafford during Champions League when he was back with AC Milan. He's racing towards the ball. The ball's bouncing. He lifts it up, and he forces two Man United defenders to clash and butt heads together, bro. And then in the process, nice little slip finish to go past the goalkeeper. And it was a goal like that. I was like, bro, I've never seen a guy juke out defenders to the point where they crash into each other like that, especially during that era of football. That iconic photo where he is taking off his shirt and underneath he has a shirt that says, I belong to Jesus. He has some crazy moments when you look at it, like in terms of footballing history, man. Like he was at one point the last Ballon d'Or that wasn't named Messi or Ronaldo up until Luka Modric won it. The commercials he was a part of with Nike and Yo La Bonito, all these things. He was so involved in what was such an important phase of football for me growing up. Who doesn't like Kaká, man? One of the most likable guys on the planet, man. And lastly, Brazilians of that skin tone tend to be disgusting as fuck, man.
Oh, dude.
Dude. Like,
filthy on the ball.
Filthy, man.
That's what I'm saying. Every time I touch the ball, he sprinkled a little bit of filth on it, man. It was ridiculous.
It's crazy. I don't want to get racial with it. I'm just saying, like, it's great. Like, Pato, too, is a very pale Brazilian.
Oscar at the time in 2014. Incredible, too, man.
Yeah. It's crazy, but that's what made him just so... I don't know, just
different, man.
Different to watch, man. It's fucking crazy. That's a good fucking pick. But damn, no Coque then.
I just can't.
I was wondering if an Atleti midfielder would make it.
Nah. The only Atleti midfielder, honorable mention Atleti midfielder, Arda Turan.
Okay.
Arda Turan got them to the Champions League final in 2014. Unfortunately, was injured for that final. But he too, at his best, played with a filth to him. And that's why I loved him, because like De Bruyne, he only looked to kill off the pass, just obviously less efficient, right? Yeah. But yeah, Turan definitely probably my favorite attacking midfielder for Atleti.
Is Pep Guardiola a bigger legend for Manchester City or Barcelona?
For me, it's City all day long. All day long. I'll entertain Barcelona conversations, but I don't know if I'll fully listen. Because I think it really is only one answer, and it is Manchester City. Like, you could probably ask Pep this. You could be like, so? Look, Pep, like, what do you really think? Obviously, you won the Champions League with Barcelona, one of the best teams of all time in 2010, 2011 season. I get it, and I think he'd understand. He'd be like, and the thing is, he's actually kind of been asked this before, but he was just like, yeah, I just had Messi on the team. And I think it's very honest. Like, not only that, but he had Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta, a very informed David Villa and Pedro. I think that did a lot for them at the time. Pep was very young in his career as a manager. I think he himself sees himself as so much more realized, so much more in control at Manchester City. So I think the results that he gets at City is more Pep than it was at Barcelona. And I talked about it last year. This Manchester City team is Pep's ideal team, fully realized. And I think that's because Pep is pulling the strings here. And at Manchester City, dude, he's been given full license to get any player that he wants. So I think even there he has a likening to Manchester City over Barcelona from that regard too. So I just think you look at it from any different angle, you'll see the accolades that he got at Barcelona, and they're valid. But what he's doing at Manchester City, I think, is a little different, bro. And I think it'll put him as more of a legend status than at Barcelona.
I like that. I do think if you see it as a managerial only question, it's very clearly Manchester City. Yeah. I agree with that because, bro, he ended up being at Bayern, I think, for damn near the same amount of time that he coached Barcelona, which is like 4 years. Yeah. It's crazy. But the question is bigger legend. And I think a thing that does matter just a little bit is the experiences he shared within the club as a player. Playing there for damn near 10 years.
That's true.
Winning 4 titles, I believe, for them, and winning the European Cup in the 90s for Barcelona.
Yeah.
Representing just what is La Masia, representing what is Barcelona, and like Zidane, like I mentioned earlier, helping raise Barcelona to the prominence that they are now at. Obviously, he wasn't like the best player for Barcelona, but he was a very important, integral part, going so far as to be the captain of the team. I think I saw on his Wikipedia page, he's been at Barcelona. He spent like 20 years there, if you add in the managerial time as well. So that's the only part that gets me, because when I think about where he's a bigger legend at, I almost feel like everything he's accomplished in Manchester City can be brought back to his origin at Barcelona. And it's almost like they get to take a bit of credit for that because they were the ones that made him. And he made himself. He found himself at Barcelona first. Managerial-wise, I do think he has the clear edge at Manchester City because that is his vision, that is his plan, that is his glory. But I don't think he becomes the man he has become at Man City without having those 2 decades at Barcelona. So for that reason, I think it's wildly close. I think that kind of evens it out a little bit more.
It's close.
I think, oh man, that one's so tough.
It's tough.
I think I'll go Barca here. Yeah. I'll go Barca to represent the other side. But I get it, man. I really do because I think after what happened this last year, it's up there, bro. It's up there. He's a Manchester City legend now, bringing them their first European trophy.
And a treble. In the modern era of football.
Yeah. But he did that at Barca too, though.
He did. I'm not saying he didn't.
I mean to be offensive there, bro. My fault. I got a little physical. My fault, bro. My fault.
That is insanely close, especially when you consider that. I agree. He would not be who he is today without his entire experience at Barcelona. 100%. If that's true, then he's probably a legend at Barcelona, which is really, really interesting. Man. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to take the question as manager, and I'm going City because of that. But overall, yeah, I'll entertain Barcelona 100%.
I mean, thing is, if he adds 2 more years to your resume at Man City, then I think at that point it might be inarguable, especially if he just keeps winning.
Right.
So.